Breaking news out of Washington. The Senate has voted to acquit President Donald Trump on the charges facing him in the impeachment trial. We'll have a live report from D.C. Plus, the coronavirus continues to spread rapidly. A 12th case just confirmed in the U.S. We'll have the latest worldwide prevention efforts ordered by the CDC.
Now, from Honolulu, for all of Hawaii, this is KITV4 Island News Midday.
Aloha and mahalo for tuning in to KITV4 Island News Midday on this Wednesday, February 5th. I'm Lindsay Fukano. We do start now with some breaking news out of Washington as the Senate has voted to acquit President Donald Trump on the charges facing him in the impeachment trial. Let's get right to our Washington correspondent Matt Knadler live on Capitol Hill now. Matt, what do we know so far?
Lindsay, good afternoon. The Senate voting just moments ago to acquit President Donald Trump on both charges against him, meaning he will not be removed from office. Those two votes, again, the abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. On that abuse charge, the Senate voting 52-48 not guilty. On the obstruction of Congress article, 53-47 not guilty. A two-thirds majority was needed to convict the president. No Democrat siding with the Republican in these votes to acquit the president. Utah Senator Mitt Romney was the only Republican senator who voted to convict the president. On the abuse of power article, he flipped on that obstruction of Congress article. Locally, Senator Mazie Hirono and Brian Schatz, both Democrats, found the president guilty on both charges. Senators voted separately on each of those two charges facing the president. Again, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The majority finding the president not guilty in what was the quickest Senate trial in U.S. history. The vote capping more than 4 months of the House impeachment process. Then the Senate trial where Democrats accused President Trump of withholding U.S. military aid to Ukraine in exchange for an investigation of the president's political rivals, notably Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Now, in some ways, the outcome of today's vote was predetermined. A two-thirds majority, as I said, of the Senate was needed to convict the president of the charges against him. The Democratic caucus had just 47 votes coming into the trial. Senators on both sides of the aisle knew that it was almost impossible to do in a Republican-controlled Senate, but now moving forward, Senator Schatz and Hirono believe the lack of additional witnesses and evidence, and ultimately this acquittal sets a bad precedent moving forward.
What the Senate did was an affront to the basic idea of a trial. And for all of the crocodile tears of my colleagues, all of the fake outrage at the accusation, we must call this what it was. It's a cover-up.
One of the messages of this is if any committee wants to do oversight of this president or this administration, good luck with that. Good luck getting information, because he can stonewall everything.
Now, regarding those witnesses and documents, any further evidence, we could be really looking at another round two here on Capitol Hill. The House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler saying today he wouldn't mind hearing from former National Security Advisor John Bolton under oath, a potential to subpoena him to testify before the Judiciary Committee. So while the impeachment trial is wrapping up here on Capitol Hill, there could be more testimony, more subpoenas issued here in the coming weeks. Live on Capitol Hill, Matt Knadler, KITV4 Island News.
All right, Matt, thank you. And President Trump gave his State of the Union address before a bitterly divided Congress yesterday. In those 78 minutes, not once did the president mention impeachment. But before the president even started speaking, a sign of tension between Trump and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. President Trump seemingly ignoring Pelosi as she extended her hand to greet him before she turned and shrugged to her caucus. The House Speaker addressing the apparent snub in a tweet, writing, "Democrats will never stop extending the hand of friendship to get the job done for the people. We will work to find common ground where we can, but we'll stand our ground where we cannot." Immediately after the president finished his address, Pelosi was seen ripping her copy apart in full view of the cameras.
Why do you guys say more on that?
Because it was a manifesto of mistruths.
Address to make the case for his re-election, highlighting the economy and sprinkling in a handful of made-for-TV moments.
Your husband is back from deployment. He is here with us tonight, and we couldn't keep him waiting any longer. I will now ask the First Lady of the United States to present you with the honor, please.
Trump even awarded controversial conservative radio host Rush Limbaugh the Presidential Medal of Freedom. But in the end, it was the bitter rivalry between the president and the House Speaker that took center stage. The White House and Trump's GOP, the allies, slammed the House Speaker's gesture when she teared up her scripts. Senator Ted Cruz called it, quote, disgraceful and disgusting. But some Democrats are insisting the outrage should be directed at Trump for using his State of the Union address as a campaign rally. Let's turn now to our local weather, taking a live look at Hilo Bay right now. Tasia Worley's in with the very latest. Tasia.
Sunny conditions for Hilo, Hawaii, but the complete opposite on the western end of the state due to this pretty stubborn cold front that is packing a lot of moisture. And as you can see, it's also affecting our winds, giving us southeasterly winds and humid conditions for today. But right behind that, we'll see that northerly wind flow to roll on in sometime late tomorrow. And as you can see, more so for Niihau and Kauai, we've had isolated thunderstorms all morning long. That's going to continue for today. Oahu getting a bit of moisture being pulled up from the south as well. And with our winds, so that's giving us very humid conditions, very heavy pockets of moisture, especially around the leeward coast, up Makakilo, Wahiawa, and Mililani at the moment. Definitely want to stay safe while you're driving out there. Here's just a look at a few of our traffic cameras in the central part of our Oahu. We can see some heavy showers quickly passing by, but definitely you can expect these on and off showers with that unsettled weather to continue all the way throughout tomorrow. We'll have when exactly they'll hit the second half of the state when we come back. But for now, Lindsay, over to you.
All right, Tasia, thank you. The coronavirus continues to spread rapidly with more than 24,000 confirmed cases, most of them in China. Health officials confirming a 12th case here in the U.S., this one in Wisconsin. The U.S. has evacuated hundreds of citizens from Wuhan, China on chartered flights. And here's ABC's Elena Gomez now with the very latest.
Hundreds of Americans evacuated from Wuhan, China on 2 U.S. chartered flights arriving at Travis Air Force Base in Northern California today. The passengers on one plane will be held there in quarantine for 2 weeks. The second plane refueled before continuing on to Marine Corps Air Station in Miramar, San Diego. Daisy Roth and her 2 young daughters on one of those flights after getting stuck in Wuhan on a trip to see family. Samuel Roth described his family's harrowing ordeal.
They're exhausted. They're so tired. They've been at the airport for 24 hours. Abigail was crying whenever she would start to fall asleep.
The UK also working to evacuate its citizens from Wuhan, a second charter flight scheduled for this Sunday.
We've put in flights and there's one more flight to come to bring Brits home.
In the Japanese port of Yokohama, the Diamond Princess cruise ship with 3,700 people on board has been quarantined as everyone undergoes health screenings. So far, 10 people tested positive and have been transported to the hospital.
Right now, the ship is in crisis mode. We are understanding that this is a once-in-a-lifetime medical emergency.
And now another cruise ship being quarantined. In Hong Kong Harbor, 1,800 passengers on this ship now being tested after dozens of crew members show symptoms of coronavirus. Chinese state television documenting a record 10-day construction of 2 new hospitals. Thousands of beds now stand ready for patients. Elena Gomez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention will distribute 400 test kits worldwide for the Wuhan coronavirus. Each test kit can perform up to 800 patient samples. And the test kit is called a reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction test. It can detect Wuhan coronavirus from nasal or oral swabs. Half the kits will go to domestic laboratories and half will go to international labs. The extra kits mean local health officials will be able to confirm cases themselves rather than waiting for the CDC. Now, previously, the CDC was the only lab in the U.S. able to test for the new coronavirus. Still to come on KITV4, Macy's meltdown. The retail chain set to cut a fifth of its store locations, including a store right here in Hawaii. We'll tell you where up next on KITV4 Island News Midday.
Lumber.
Welcome back. Macy's will close 125 stores and leave the weakest malls. That's all a fifth of its locations, including a store right here in Hawaii. Now, the company is also cutting roughly 2,000 corporate jobs, or 10% of corporate and support staff, and closing several offices. The Wall Street Journal says the Macy's at Waikoloa Village King Shops is one of the stores that will close. Four Seasons Resort Lanai has come out as #1 on a list of the best hotels in the country. U.S. News and World Report says it stood out because of its position overlooking the Pacific Ocean, as well as its amenities. All guest rooms at the resort have private patios and 75-inch flat-screen TVs with Blu-ray players. The report also says accessible transportation at the resort gives it an edge. All guests have access to a complimentary shuttle that takes visitors to and from Lanai City. Well, 1 in 4 renters now spend more than half of their incomes on housing. A new study by the Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard finds nearly 11 million renters spent more than 50% of their income on housing in 2018. Financial experts recommend people spend no more than 30% of their income on housing. Valentine's Day spending on pets will reach a record high this year. The National Retail Federation says 27% of people say they will buy Valentine's Day gifts for their pets, totaling approximately $1.7 billion in spending. The numbers are the highest in survey history and have increased by 17% since 2010. Shares of eBay soared yesterday after rumors swirled that the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange was thinking of buying the e-commerce pioneer. Intercontinental Exchange says it approached eBay to explore options, but, quote, eBay has not engaged in a meaningful way. It also says it is not in negotiations to buy all or part of eBay. And the Wall Street Journal had reported Intercontinental Exchange made a takeover offer of eBay valued at more than $30 billion. That article noted the companies were not currently in formal talks. Well, stocks surge again on coronavirus vaccine hopes. Markets post some big gains today for the third straight day in a row. The Nasdaq and S&P hit all-time highs, and the Dow Jones Industrial did as well. All right, we'll go back outside with a live look at the windward side. Tasia Worley's back in now with a look at today's forecast. Tasia.
Windward side looking partly cloudy, but more so for Oahu south and the west side, getting a few of those showers that are riding along that cold front there. Good news is we'll continue to have that humid conditions for just a short time. We've got breezy northerly winds rolling on in as early as tomorrow. But of course, as you can see, heavy showers for our Kauai will continue. More showers for the town areas of Oahu moving in later this evening. And then for Maui County, we're going to start to see that cloud coverage start to build up all the way throughout Hawaii Island. Hilo, Hawaii could get just a bit of isolated showers, more so by 3 o'clock throughout the evening. Within the next 24 hours, you can see just how quickly that cold front will continue to move down the chain, but it's a bit more widespread tomorrow, and then some of that moisture could be included into that northerly flow, giving us some passing showers over the weekend as well. We'll have a timeline on that, but for now, here's a look at your surf. 5 to 8 for the north, 3 to 5 for the east, up to 3 for the south, 4 to 6 for the west, and with that cold front, we're also seeing the north and west facing shores go up. We'll have your wave heights for tomorrow as well when we come back, but for now, Lindsay, to you.
Tasia, thank you. With hectic schedules and long to-do lists, many of us cannot imagine squeezing in a meditation session. Sherry Preston explains how making the time to practice actually has profound impacts on our bodies and our minds.
KITV4 Island News Medical Minute, sponsored by Ekahi Wellness.
Our lives are busy with work, school, friends, and family. Sometimes we forget to hit pause and take a moment to breathe. Carving out even just 5 minutes a day to meditate can restore calm and reduce tension and worry, according to experts at the Mayo Clinic. You can meditate wherever you are, whether you're out for a walk, riding the bus, going to work, or even before a stressful meeting. Meditation comes in many forms. You just have to find what works best for you. The key is to focus your attention and eliminate the stream of jumbled thoughts clouding your mind. Meditation has also been shown to promote physical health, help manage symptoms for chronic health conditions, and reduce inflammation. Try to incorporate a brief meditation session during your day. As you start, don't judge your meditation skills. It'll get easier and feel better with time. With this Medical Minute, I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
All right. right, and still to come on KITV4, your surf forecast. Plus, a pair of dogs are caught on camera starting a fire. And a man expecting a letter gets 55,000 of them. Those stories and more coming up on KITV4. Stay with us. Welcome back. Crime Stoppers and Honolulu police need your help looking for a suspect wanted for first-degree murder. Take a look at your screen. This is a sketch of the man police are accusing of fatally shooting 65-year-old Solomon Kalaiopu Jr. and his 39-year-old son, Solomon Kalaiopu III, last month in Waianae. They were standing in their garage on Kepauala Place when the suspect pulled up, opened fire, then got away in a black Toyota Tacoma pickup.
We want the community to basically take a good look at the sketch and see if it's anybody that you recognize. But also at the same time, if you've heard anything about this case, however small it may be, please pass that information on to us and we'll forward it to the investigators.
Any tips remain anonymous, and anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 955-8300. Several crimes were committed by groups of teenage suspects this past week, leaving community members on edge. A violent robbery at an Ala Moana consignment store is just one of them. And on Monday afternoon, police say a group of teens on skateboards robbed and assaulted a 25-year-old man at a Kalihi apartment building. HPD determined the crimes were done by different groups, but all were either in high school or middle school.
Everyone is just frustrated. Everyone is just like, it's like, where are these kids' parents? Why are they allowed to act like this?
We look at different types of services, such as after-school programs. Are those readily available? Do we have teen centers that will keep, let's say, youth off the street? I'm not saying youth is necessarily the problem, but, it's good to have those types of mechanisms in place because we don't want it to end up to something else.
A number of Kalihi businesses near schools tell KITV4 they often see teens come in and shoplift items. Hawaii Attorney General Claire Connors joined a coalition of attorney generals from 25 other states, as well as the District of Columbia, fighting for financial relief for college students. Now, the group renewed a request that U.S. Department of Education Secretary Betsy DeVos discharge federal student loans for people who were enrolled in now closed schools operated by Dream Center Education Holdings, LLC. That includes Argosy University, Hawaii, and they shut down 3 campuses across the state last March. Connors says, quote, given the egregious mismanagement of the schools, more students should be protected from the burden of repayment, end quote. We'll go back outside now with a live look from our KITV4 rooftop camera. Tasia Worley's in now with a look at today's weather. Tasia.
News Midday.
Welcome back. A fire in a house that was brought under control raised questions. That is, until officials checked security and spotted the 4-legged suspect.
Jeremy Roth brings us this tale. You got to see to believe.
2 dogs in New Mexico are okay.
All right, we'll go back outside now with a look at the 8th day. Things are shaping up to be not too much of a beach day, like you said.
That's right, especially for Niihau, Kauai, and our Oahu. Unsettled weather due to that cold front. It's going to continue to move down the island chain. So our Hawaii Island and Maui County will get their fair share of showers tomorrow through Friday. Now, as that cold front moves on through, we'll have some cool air being pulled in from the north and breezy conditions. So temperatures will be dropped down to the middle 70s. That's going to last throughout the weekend. So just keep that in mind, and possibly not an umbrella, but maybe a rain jacket or raincoat due to those breezy conditions. Now here's just a look at some camera views. This is over in our central area of our Oahu. Heavy showers passing by. That's going to be consistent throughout today. Again, today and tomorrow from Kauai County throughout Oahu. Maui County throughout Hawaii Island tomorrow through Friday as we look at that cold front and how powerful it is. And you can see all of those breezy conditions right behind that. So looking forward to some cooler temperatures and some breezy winds.
Breath of fresh air is always good. Tasia, thank you. And thank you for watching. We'll have more on the results of the Senate impeachment trial. We'll have more of that posted on our website at KITV.com and also more at 5 and 6. We'll see you back here then. Have a great day.